Are home prices dropping? You bet they are. I'm seeing reductions all across the country right now. But in this video, I want to talk about the one strategy that you need to have, whether you're a first-time home buyer or an investor, that every successful investor that I've ever worked with has always brought up. So make sure you stay to the very end of the video because I want to hear your feedback on what you think is going to make you successful in this real estate market. If this is the first time that we've met, my name is Seanu Uyehara. I'm a branch manager with Loan Depot, helping you finance your homes all across America. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, you're building a vacation home, or looking to build your real estate portfolio, we've got you covered. You can hit the description below for links to more information on how to get your mortgage right. And we put out videos every single week because I want to help you understand real estate and mortgage space so you can get the best mortgage possible. Now, as I mentioned, home prices are dropping. That we can all agree on. Now, it just depends on what part of the country that you're looking in as to how much of a reduction that you're seeing. We're seeing anywhere from 5 to 10%, and many of you probably think that home prices are still going to drop. Now, I would agree that yes, I do think prices are going to continue to go down. To what extent? That we all don't know. Nobody has a crystal ball as to say how much lower home prices are going to be. However, if you are a buyer in today's market, the one thing that I would stress to you is that you have to understand and look at the big picture of what real estate investing looks like. Now, I'm not talking about flipping houses or house hacking or buying a multi-unit family for cash flow, but the strategy that I really want you to think about is patience, and why patience is such an important thing to think about when it comes to real estate investing. Because as we talk about these price reductions, I can see many clients that are still waiting on the sidelines because they think home values are going to continue to drop. I've had some clients that I've spoken to that think that we're going to see another 40%, 50% decrease in home prices. For what reason? They can't articulate that to me. They just think that that's what's going to happen. Now, thinking about where home prices are today, if you're on the sidelines thinking that home prices are just going to continue to drop and go down month after month, quarter after quarter, when do you realize you've hit the bottom? It's hard to understand that number in real estate, especially if you're not a full-time realtor or mortgage professional, because the only way you're going to find out the data is when you're looking behind you. So at that point, if you know the bottom was last month, you're not buying at the bottom anymore, are you? You're actually on an upward swing. And when you look at real estate value over the last of its entirety, home values continuously go up. We've just got spoiled over the last 2 years that values were going up 10, 20%, 25% in some parts of the country. But if you go back and you look at the modest 3 to 5 to maybe 7% annual appreciation year after year, especially during inflationary periods or recessionary periods, home values continue to go up. So even though we are seeing somewhat of a shift, a correction, whatever you want to call it, in the market today, that's a good thing. That's a good thing for buyers because sellers are starting to get a little skittish. Homes are sitting on the market longer than what they were over the last couple of years. But remember, those last 2 years were artificially created. So if you're a buyer in today's market, I wouldn't necessarily wait for this crash to take place. Rather, you need to run the numbers to figure out where do you stand in the market. If you're a first-time home buyer, the one thing that helped me purchase my first house during the 2008 crash was I needed a place to live where my rent was comparable to my mortgage payment. Now, you might say, well, Sean, in today's market, that's not going to happen because values skyrocketed so much. And you know what? Certain parts of the country, you might be right. However, if sellers are going to get desperate, which in some cases I think they will, that's the opportune time for you as a buyer to come in and negotiate on that deal. I'm actively looking for properties for myself right now. I know that some of these sellers that are selling homes today, they are reducing homes. The last 2 years, there was a wait list to buy. So now I know I can get the terms that I want, which is an amazing thing. If you're buying a vacation home or you're buying an investment property, homes are sitting on the market longer. So instead of competing over the last 2 years to say, hey, you need to go buy this house and it's $50,000, $75,000 above list price, just to get your offer accepted. You don't have to do that today. So seeing home prices drop, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, but that also depends on what side of the fence you sit on. If you're a buyer, you should not be afraid of this. You should not look at the market in fear of thinking that it's going to drop 50, 60%. Because I think if that were to happen, I think we have a large global problem, which means I don't think the average person is looking at real estate at that point. I think if we saw that big of a drop, the average buyer, the average homeowner, they're either losing their job, they've blown through their savings, they're just financially not in a place that they can even think about buying a home. So in my opinion, having that large of a reduction in home values would be catastrophic, not only to the housing market, but I think into the entire US population. Will there be people that will buy at that point? 100%. Wall Street, hedge funds, all these other companies are going to continue to buy homes. And there have been articles that I've shared with you where Blackstone has raised $50 billion in the largest residential hedge fund to go buy residential properties. Tricon Residential is continuously buying homes to build and to rent. They're not selling these to average Joes like you and me. They are renting them out. So as a buyer, if you can capitalize on the market today, go ahead and do it. However, if you plan on selling in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe it is better for you to wait. Could there be more of a correction? Possibly, but if you absolutely had to sell within that time frame, then yeah, you might get stuck with that home. So can you then rent it out? If not, maybe you do want to wait, because that was the one thing that got everybody in trouble back in 2008. People were buying homes for appreciation and pure speculation. They bought a house because my cousin bought a house for $400,000. They sold it a year later for $525,000, walked away with $125,000 in cash. Banks were lending to investors with no money down or very little money out of pocket. So you were leveraged to the hilt and you were buying homes purely with the idea that you could sell it and make money. That was it. However, if you're buying today, are you still able to buy for cash flow? I still come across rental properties that you can still cash flow on. The monthly cash flow isn't as big as it was the last couple of years. However, if the property lost 10, 20% in value, it doesn't matter because I'm not selling. And that value only matters when you decide to sell. Just think about the stock market. Let's say you owned 100 shares of Apple. If Apple went down 10% today, are you going to panic sell? Probably not. Why? Because you believe in the company, you believe in the longevity, and you believe that it's going to rebound. So same thing with real estate. I don't understand why we freak out as a country when values start to go down, thinking that home prices are going to zero. If home prices go to zero, again, we're at a much larger issue if housing is worth nothing. Homes will always be worth something. Even if you go back to the crash, we were financing homes here in Las Vegas for $90,000. People thought that that would continue to go down and they didn't buy. But guess what? If you would have bought a rental back then, you'd probably have a $400 mortgage payment, and that rent today is probably close to $2,500, $2,800 a month. So again, like I talked about, always looking in the rearview mirror, you can look at that guy or that gal as an investor and be like, man, you're one smart person. But no, they just saw through all the BS that the media feeds us every single day. So if you can be a home buyer and you see past that, 5-10 years from now, if you still own that home, people might look at you and say, you made a smart decision. And that's really all it's about. And I always share my story of my house that I bought because I paid $175,000 for it. The lowest it dropped to was about $120,000. So if you look at that, maybe another 30%. I didn't freak out. I didn't worry about the home value because I was not selling. I'm not a seller. I still maintain the property. It's got over $250,000 of equity in the home. You might say, well, you got lucky. No, I bought the house and I sat on it. That's all I did. I didn't do anything special. It's still there and it's making me money now. You can do the same thing whether you're buying your first property or you're buying a rental property. You just have to be a little more cognizant of your numbers today. Do the numbers work? In my opinion, as an investor, I want the property to cash flow because I do not care what happens to the market because the tenant is paying my mortgage off. And I know in 10, 15, 20 years, when my daughter is old enough to run her own business and be a grown-up, those homes will be nearly paid off. And I've done future calculations on what their rent projections will be in 20 years from now. They will more than double than what I'm getting today. So the 5 rental properties that I own will be bringing in close to $10,000 a month. Again, it all starts with little single base hits. And to my point, and why I really wanted to shoot this video for you, is to talk about patience. You can get greedy, flip a house, you might make some money. But in the long run, real estate is always going to win. You have to have faith in real estate like you would have with your stocks, whether you're buying Apple, Facebook, Google, Amazon, all these companies that we buy into, the S&P 500, people are constantly investing or putting money into a 401k. Why not invest into your own future through real estate? Now, despite whether the market continues to drop or not, I still think it's a great time to buy. And I'm not just saying that because I'm in the business. I'm saying that because I see clients winning every single day. Now, it's up to you whether or not you want to win and take advantage of this market. That's why I'm here. And if you need a second opinion, you can always email me your questions, your scenarios, and that's what I'm here for. Share this video with a friend who can use some inspiration, and hopefully we are winning together in this real estate game. I'll see you on the next video.